Welcome back, everybody, to the Limit Breakdown, where we give you our thoughts, opinions, and reviews of the latest in TV, movies, and anything in entertainment. I am your host, Sid.
And Migs.
And today we're going to be looking at Kenobi on Disney+. Overall, we gave it 3.5 hearts. That means it was okay, not bad. If you want to watch it, you can, but it was okay in our opinion. So stick around after the intro so we can deep dive and review it and dissect Kenobi on Disney+.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Limit Breakdown, and today we're going to be breaking down Kenobi on Disney+. This is going to be our thoughts on the series as a whole, since we've already done episodes 1 through 3. We won't touch too much on those, but let's get going, man. What were your initial thoughts on the series as a whole? Big sigh.
So, as we said, episode 1 and 2 are very intriguing. As the show continued, it did not grip me as much. I was a little disappointed, and I think they could have done a lot better, but overall, I was just not satisfied. I didn't like how the story was, how the plot was. The only thing to me that was more of a saving grace for that show was Ian McGregor's acting, Hayden Christensen's acting, and the little girl who played Leia, her acting. Those three pulled it all together, but overall, I think the show just wasn't gripping, and I think they had a lot of plot holes to me that just didn't make sense.
It's a tale for me of what was and what could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they had the opportunity to terribly botch it, which I don't think they did.
Mm-hmm.
But it could have been so much more than what it was.
Yeah.
I always knew it was going to be a difficult balancing point because there's so much that they have to step around, things that they have to make sure they don't really touch in order not to mess up canon.
Yeah.
So, they kind of sort of did a little bit there. The situation with Leia and Obi-Wan's relationship, like, you would think based on this interaction that, she would have a much bigger reaction to Obi-Wan, in the future. But, that wasn't too big of a point for me. But the few things that it did do right, it did tremendously right. I think this series gave us some key moments in Star Wars lore going forward. I think the whole point of the series was to get to the two interactions between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yeah, I agree there.
That was the whole point of the series. Did it need to be a 6-episode miniseries? Probably not. It could. This really could have been a 2-hour movie. It probably, hindsight, should have been a 2-hour movie. Mm-hmm. And then it's also the rare scenario of Disney could have given us 2 completely different shows out of this.
So I was thinking about that as well. I think you're right. So the two things that I think were important were the one storyline, obviously, with Leia and Obi-Wan running away from the Inquisitors, who I think the Inquisitor itself were very, very interesting. I think third sister, Riva, I think I'm pronouncing her name right, she was very interesting. That storyline itself was awesome. But I think you're right. If they had split, let's just say Obi-Wan wasn't in the show and they just talked about her running after some random Jedi, like Kumail Nanjiani's character.
Yeah.
Right? I think it could have been a completely different show.
Well, and they teased so many other characters. Like they had, that little Jedi Underground Railroad thing they had going on. They had some some writings on the wall that alluded to other characters in the canon. Brought some characters into the canon from some of the expanded universe works. Yeah. And so, that you could have had the opportunity to have a show solely based on the Inquisitors. Have something to where it's like, because that I thought was a very interesting aspect, the dynamics of the whole system between the Inquisitors and who was the Grand Inquisitor, and you know, the fifth brother thought he should be next in line, but and apparently the numbers apparently the numbers mean nothing, because Reva's the third sister, but the fifth brother thought he was next.
Yeah, I think it's the higher ranking you have, maybe. So like the first person is actually the lowest. So
I don't know.
Maybe that's how that works.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, Sith math is hurting my head.
So one thing that I've seen that was very consistent with this show was the very good highs of the quality of, let's just say, narrative and storytelling and what was going on, and then just the plot holes and things that just don't make sense. And in every episode you can see this. One of the big things that I thought about was in the episode that you were mentioning where they were running through the tunnels, Leia and Tala are escaping in the tunnel. This is when you first see Kenobi and Darth Vader fight. Kenobi and Darth Vader's fight, amazing. The fight itself, we can delve into a little bit, it was amazing. But then the part that didn't make sense was them running in the tunnels. How did the third sister get to the other side of the tunnel before Leia? How did she know where the end of the tunnel is? And then how did she, get there before her? That part didn't make sense. The other thing was, how did Tala escape that tunnel without third sister noticing? And then she got to a good high ground position to help Kenobi in his battle with the super slow robot, right? That plot didn't make sense to me. Yeah. But like I said, flip side now, the fight scene, the first fight between Darth Vader and Kenobi, I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was phenomenal, really good. You could see the emotion running through Obi-Wan's face. Ian McGregor, again, did a phenomenal job. You could see the raw power that Vader has now.
Dude, we've never seen Vader be that ruthless and vicious in any Star Wars incarnation.
The ending of Rogue One.
Yeah.
That fight scene was really good. I would say that's the first time you see Vader.
No, but I'm saying, like, when he was trying to lure Kenobi out, like, he's grabbing
people, just killing them. What
was it? Was it a little boy, or was it like a teenage boy that he just snapped his neck?
It was the dad. He pulled out the dad. Then I think he got like his son. He just snaps his neck.
Yeah, like that was.
Oh man, that was vicious. And then his fight was.
Yeah, no, that particular fight was really, 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 really awesome. Like I said, one of the things that I enjoyed is that it did create some marquee moments for me going forward in the Star Wars lore. Like, now that line has become iconic. The first time when Obi-Wan looks at Darth Vader in the full suit and he goes, "What have you done to yourself?"
Yep.
And Darth Vader just, "I am what you made me."
Yeah.
Like,
that scene I think was amazing. So throughout the series, it was similar things like that, right? Closer to the end of the series, I think it was at the end of episode 5, where they're in the tunnels and they're trying, and Obi-Wan and like the rebellions, or they're defending themselves, and they're like, okay, here's the plan. We're gonna use this plane to escape. And Vader just grabs the plane drops it, and we're like, that power is awesome.
Yeah.
And then they have a decoy plane and they escape.
Yeah.
Very good. I thought that scene was awesome. First scene, episode 6, is them being in space and they're immediately being chased by a Vader starship.
Yeah, right on top of them, yeah.
So that plot made no sense. So why did they spend all this time escaping when they were right in the position? Like that part didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So things like that. Now again, flip side to that was episode 5, Reva's fight scene with Vader.
He was so disrespectful. He's like, "I'm not gonna hit. You're not worthy of me pulling out my lightsaber. I'm gonna break your saber and beat you."
Blocked her lightsaber. She just goes, oh, that scene was. I think that again, great scene.
And it was one of those things, like we've been saying, it's the tale of what could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you take a season with just Inquisitors, and like I understand the motivations with Reva. I don't know if I necessarily like some of the things they did with her. I'm not a big fan of the fact that she knew that Vader was Anakin all along. Like I get, that Vader is more calculating and he plays the long game and everything. But from everything I know of Darth Vader, if he even had an inkling that Reva knew he was Anakin, she would have been dead ages ago.
Yeah.
And I don't see what the purpose was of him keeping her around. Yeah. I think if they would have shown something like my personal theory, and I'm gonna be biased when I say this because I know a lot of people get upset when it's like, oh, the theory that I thought would have happened didn't happen, so now I'm mad at the story. And this isn't one of those things, but I genuinely feel like this would have been a better approach.
Yeah.
I feel like had instead of it being that Vader stabbed her, it would have been like she did something. She force pushed one of the stormtroopers or did something to defend herself. Something that gave Vader an inclination. Hey, there might be something to this child. This child has potential. And then he doesn't have to be nice to her. He could like knock her out or something, and then take her on as an Inquisitor from that point on. But the fact that they based all her entire motivation, and the fact that she survived getting stabbed.
That was my other thing.
As a youngling,
she survived being stabbed as a youngling. Then she survived being stabbed when she was older, same spot. And then in episode 1 of Kenobi, the Grand Inquisitor gets stabbed by Reva in the same spot, and he also lives. So basically, lightsaber stabbing doesn't mean jack.
Tell that to Qui-Gon.
Yes. I'm just saying, in this day and age, I don't know what's going on.
The explanation is that it's supposed to be a dark side ability, that you rely on your anger and your hatred to keep your essence alive.
So you use kind of like a life force
kind
of thing.
So
gotcha.
I mean that was the explanation behind Darth Maul being able to survive getting cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
Is his hatred. The same thing for Anakin, and that's what kept him alive.
Interesting.
I just don't know if as a Jedi youngling she would have. Like, I'm sorry, like, you're 8 years old. Like, how much hatred do you really have?
Get my candy!
Like, listen, I need you to have at least a little bit more trauma before I can believe that you truly hate.
Yeah. So, it just, that part didn't make sense.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they could have given her a little bit more time to actually plot. Because, I mean, the concept wasn't bad of her, infiltrating the Inquisitors, playing the long con. And then the other thing that I kind of had is she was so easily duped by Kenobi. Like, she had been having this plan to take down Vader for this whole time, and then all of a sudden Kenobi figures it out in an instant and basically
plays her mind.
Yeah, and basically gets her to pull the trigger on Vader. And it was a really dumb time. Like, he's sitting here focused on force crushing this thing, right? And he's doing it with one hand. He's not even really trying all that hard. And then you think, oh, I'm not going to hear you ignite your lightsaber and come.
Yeah, that didn't make. So I want to talk about the last battle between Vader and Kenobi.
Yes.
It felt, I don't know if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, it felt very similar to the last fight. Very similar. But I think the fight scene was really good, as so far they have all been, actually. Same thing. Kenobi is originally he was kind of defeated. He's not the same Kenobi anymore. As the show goes on, he has character development. He's back to his full power.
Yeah.
Vader's still ruthless, powerful, just beat him up type person, right? And then they go through this beautiful fight scene. Vader crushes him with some rocks. Can't force sense him for some reason as he walks away. Kenobi comes back full powered and just rips him a new one, saying, I mean, he didn't say it, but you could see he's like,
I'm
I'm still Kenobi.
Yeah. No, I thought it was very very on brand for both of them.
Mhm.
The key element to Vader is his power stems from his deep hatred. It wasn't in this episode. It was in one of the Darth Vader comics where he's facing off against another Darksider. And the guy is like, I'll overpower you because I have more hate in you, and they keep fighting. And Vader manages to overpower him, and the dark side user asks him, "What could you possibly hate so much that gives you this much power?" And he just looks at him and goes, "Myself." and so as much as Vader is trying to let go of Anakin, there's still so much of him left in there, and Kenobi was able to use that to his advantage.
Yeah.
He very much took advantage of the fact that he knew who Anakin was. He knew, his tendencies, how aggressive he is, how blinded he would be by just the pure desire for vengeance that he had. And there were some very touching moments in there too, even in that battle. The scene where he cuts his helmet.
Oh man,
and exposes his face.
That was awesome. Just the pure acting from Hayden Christensen of the
dude,
one
the
eye
hatred.
oh man,
And
so good. I thought it was really good.
So this is a little bit of a tangent, but they did that same scene. They took that scene from Rebels, and it was originally Ahsoka that did it. And I'm a little biased because I like the impact that it had with Ahsoka, because with Ahsoka, she wasn't sure whether or not Vader was truly Anakin or not until she cut the helmet and exposed his face. And then, they had this really, really epic battle. And for this being the first time we see something like that in live action, like as much as I wish they would have given it to Ahsoka, I'm glad they gave it to Kenobi, because it gave you more of a justification of him to say, "Oh, Darth Vader was the one that killed your father."
Yes.
And he was the one, and you can see where now that thought process makes sense.
Yeah. He's
because
like, Anakin is no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That scene itself was very, very cleverly put together and portrayed. So yeah.
Yeah, and overall, like I said, there was a lot of potential wasted, but at the same time, I think the good stuff that we got was worth. Like overall, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna watch episode 3 and episode 6 of this show on a rewatch.
Yeah.
But and then there was a whole lot with little mini Leia.
Her sass was on
next
point.
level. She got Leia to a T.
Yeah. It was really well. She captured Carrie Fisher's character very, very well. I think I am usually not a fan of child actors, because obviously they're children. They usually don't know as much. But I think she just was on point. Her sass and her comebacks were right there.
She was great. There's something that I saw pointed out that I thought was very interesting. Not in pertaining to the child actors, but into the characters. In that they're saying that everyone usually looks at Luke and Leia as Luke is the par for Anakin and Leia is the par for Padme, right? When in reality, if you really look at their actions, Luke is more like Padme and Leia is more like Anakin. Leia is the one who rushed to the front of the war. She commanded armies. She was, this great leader, general, whereas Luke was more of the diplomat. He was more he was obviously the warrior of the two, the Jedi, but at the same time he didn't have that lust for power that I guess.
Yeah. That makes sense. I never thought about that. So it's very
cool.
interesting thought process. And I'm gonna ponder this. I'm gonna go through all the movies and be like, makes sense. I did think it was very interesting to see Uncle Owen and his wife get down there like, bro,
Oh yeah,
we're gonna defend our home. I was
They
like,
go Red
dang.
Dead Redemption on.
Yeah,
it.
I was
it
like, wow,
really
that
great.
was awesome. That scene was actually really cool. That they brought them in and be like, look, they're gonna do this.
Although I did think it was a little awkward because, like, Reva's. Okay, this was one of the things that I really, really didn't. I understood it, but I didn't like it. The whole thing. Okay, so Leah's father, the senator, right?
Mm-hmm. Bail.
Leaves. Yeah, Organa. Bail Organa leaves the puck for Kenobi to say that if he's dead, he's gonna go protect Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And Reva happens to find it. It just so happened that she met Owen. Like, there were just so many coincidences that it's like, and then wait a second. Okay, so because he says he's gonna go find the child with Owen, you automatically assume, oh, this must be the same Owen. Like, there's only one Owen in Tatooine in the whole galaxy. There's only one Owen.
Just one Owen. Facebook. Where do you live? Now that I think about it, that didn't make sense. Wow, I never thought about it. Yeah. See, again, things the show had really good, and then there's things that just didn't make sense in the show. And that was, to me, the theme of the whole show. Things that were awesome and things that just didn't make sense.
I really did like how they kind of redeemed Owen, though. Like, in the original trilogy, he was kind of meant to. He was kind of seen as kind of like gruff, uncaring. Wasn't really, didn't really. I mean, yeah, he cared, but it looked like it was just, he needed Luke as a helper. He didn't really care about Luke's happiness. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, seeing that Owen met Anakin and knew more about what was going on in the galaxy at the time and all that. Like, it shows that he actually had more of a caring relationship for Luke than what had been seen before. Mm-hmm. And then another really, like, oh crap moment was when Obi-Wan and Owen are talking in the village, right? And he's like, yo, Obi, just leave us alone. And Obi-Wan's just like, no,
we have to train him.
We gotta train him. And Owen hits him with the, like, you trained his father?
Oh!
Dude, I was like, oh, damn. Oh, damn.
Oh, man. Yeah, that scene was pretty fun.
I was like,
he's like, ooh.
You're gonna need some cream for that.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. But yeah, so wrapping up, overall thoughts, what'd you think?
Overall, man, like I said, I felt that the few moments that they gave us that were great were really great and really added to the lore. I know a lot of people are not so hyped on the show anymore because there was a lot of wasted opportunities, but I think that for what we got, it was worth it. Like that, gotcha. I think there was more good to take away from the show than there was bad.
Yeah, I agree and disagree. I think a lot of the show was half the show was really good, like I've been saying. Half the show was bad. Phenomenal acting from the actors. The plots were pretty okay, but then there's a lot of plot holes.
Okay, let me ask you this question. How do you feel about them doing a season 2?
I don't think they should. I think they should let it be as it is. Just let it be. Don't add anything. The show didn't really end in a major... Actually, it didn't end in a cliffhanger at all, except for Vader saying, oh, Kenobi's, not my concern. I'll do whatever you say to Palpatine. Beyond that one scene, which also says that, hey, there's nothing more to do anymore. There's no reason to do a season 2. There's no real cliffhanger per se.
I disagree with you that there's no reason to do a season 2. I think there's no reason to do a season 2 and bring Vader back. Mm-hmm. I think that they need to leave Obi-Wan and Vader a good distance away. But I still think that there is good stories that can be told with Kenobi.
Maybe Grand Inquisitor?
Yeah.
They didn't really explain how Grand Inquisitor just magically appeared.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still potential stories that can be told with Obi-Wan, because even at where Kenobi ended, you're still I feel a long ways away from Ewan McGregor Kenobi to Alec Guinness Kenobi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like there's still some growth. And again, me being biased here, I would love to see a live action version of the last fight between Maul and Kenobi.
Yeah, that I agree. If you guys haven't watched it, it's in Rebels, right?
Rebels. Yeah.
Oh man, Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, really really good show. That fight scene was actually really good. So, yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for watching. This was our review for Kenobi. We will be back next week with some more content.
We appreciate it, guys. Take it easy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching our content. As we gear up to continue having our channel grow, we're nearing our 100th subscriber. We're doing a giveaway for this great Stan Lee collectible. We're very excited about this. If you want to be eligible to win this bad boy, need you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment under the video. That way we can choose the winner as soon as we get to that 100th subscriber. We're very excited for the upcoming content. We've got lots of movies that are coming out that we're going to review. We're very, very excited. Thanks, guys, for watching. Bye.
If you like our videos, please subscribe and hit the like button.